Just days after news of a young man drowned while working on a passenger boat on Friday night, there is another report of a drowning incident, this time in the vicinity of the Newtown Bay Road. Police are investigating the death of a man whose body was discovered Monday morning in the vicinity of the Newtown Bay Road. According to police, the body of a man was seen floating in the water by a passerby who brought the body ashore with the assistance from another individual. Some media outlets identified the victim as Oral Colburn, said to be in his late 50s. Investigations are ongoing. This comes just days after a crew member on the Apple Cider drowned after falling off the boat while it docked at the Bastyr Terminal Port. Andre Huey, Skn Newsline.
While the borders of St. Kitts and Nevis were officially reopened on the 31st October, no commercial passenger flights have landed at the Robert L. Bratcher International Airport. Sources inform Skn Newsline that there were a few small charter flights and small private general aviation aircraft that landed at the airport over the weekend. Reopening after a 7-month shutdown to all but cargo flights, the RLB Airport Terminal has undergone several changes to accommodate COVID-19 protocols. International flights will return to St. Kitts and Nevis when American Airlines and British Airways are expected to have their first flights since the borders were closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and confirmation of these flights are expected later in the week. Physical changes at the airport include a welcoming center, a medical center, and an isolation room, all located on the aircraft parking apron, while on the inside the immigration arrivals hall is divided into 2 sections so that on entry to the terminal, a passenger must pass through a screening process conducted in the former arrivals VIP lounge before exiting into the other half of the hall to be processed by immigration officers. Any COVID-19 suspected cases will be directed outside to the medical center for testing and perhaps isolation. Meanwhile, regional airline Liat announced it will be back in the skies on 1st November with a single round-trip flight between Antigua and Dominica. A press release on Liat's Facebook page informed that limited scheduled flights on the airline's network will occur later in November. According to the release, COVID-19 protocols will apply to the airline's operations, and a new booking website will be launched later in November, while the airline continues under administration. Glenn Barth, Skn Newsline.
Wearing face masks, while not foolproof in preventing the contraction of the coronavirus, helps prevent persons who may have the virus from passing it on to others. So explains Dr. Arthur Garrison, professor with the University of Houston. Speaking in an interview with Skn Newsline, Dr. Garrison addressed concerns persons may have about wearing face masks, which is widely promoted as a non-pharmaceutical measure to minimize the spread of the coronavirus.
There are pretty good data that if you are standing next to somebody and you are infected yourself, you have an 18.18% chance of infecting somebody next to you without a mask, and a 3% chance of infecting somebody next to you with a mask. All right, you don't need more data than that. There are, to my knowledge, no data that would support not wearing a mask. None. Now, when people say, "Oh my goodness, people who wear masks, it prevents you transmitting it. If everybody wears a mask, then they're not going to transmit it to anybody else." The fact that you're wearing a mask is not as effective to protect yourself. And so this is almost a reverse thing, where wearing a mask prevents you from transmitting it, but obviously if everybody wore a mask, nobody would transmit it to anybody else.
Dr. Garrison also addressed concerns persons may have about a coronavirus vaccine.
There are, I think, 2 different, very, very important distinctions between safe and effective. All right? So effective means it works. And effective means it protects anybody that's exposed to the virus from actually getting sick. Okay? That's effective. Now remember, there are some people that are saying some of the vaccines may not be any more than 50% effective, or there are some that may be up to 90% effective. That means if you get the vaccine, only half will be protected, or up to 9 in 10 will be effective. The only way we're going to know that is by the vaccine manufacturers themselves testing it on a very large group of people, which is what they're doing now, and coming back and saying to the world, well, this looks like it's effective 90% of the time. Okay? That's effective. Safe is very different. Safe, because you're largely going to take people who are well and you're going to give them a vaccine, and you better not make them sick.
The full interview with Dr. Garson can be heard on Let's Talk St. Kitts and Nevis on Skn Newsline's sister radio station, Voice of the Caribbean Radio, at voiceofthecaribbean.net at 10 a.m. Tuesday. Andre Huey, Skn Newsline. It's the new and improved Skn Newsline Android mobile app. With the Skn Newsline app, you can watch your news reports, the Skn Newsline newscast, sports, special features, and so much more. You can also send us a WhatsApp or call us directly. Go in the Google Play Store, search Skn Newsline, and download the app today. The Skn Newsline mobile app. News on the go. Auto Plus Car Wash, located on the College Street Gut, Bastille, St. Kitts. Bring your car to Auto Plus Car Wash to remove water stains, wiper marks. Get your doors, roof panel cleaned, seat floor mats, buffing, headlights, and engine wash. You get quality service at the best price at Auto Plus Car Wash. They really care for your car. Call 765-5140 or visit them on the College Street Gut, Bastille, St. Kitts. Auto Plus Car Wash, where the service is number one. Football is back at Skn Newsline, and the Voice of the Caribbean Radio are bringing live coverage with Premier League Live. Watch and listen to live football coverage on Saturdays at 7 p.m., Sundays at 6 p.m., and midweek games on Mondays or Fridays at 8 p.m. Games will be broadcast on Skn Newsline and the Skn FA Facebook pages, and Voice of the Caribbean Radio at voiceofthecaribbean.net. It's Premier League Live, commentary, analysis, action. Never miss a game. Football fans, get ready for football like never before. It's the inaugural Super 6 playoffs featuring the top 6 teams in the Skn FA Premier League doing battle for the Big Cup at the Warner Park Football Stadium starting November 24th. The Super 6 playoffs is the most lucrative sporting event in St. Kitts and Nevis, with the champions winning $50,000. Yes, you heard right. $50,000 for the champions, $500 for man of the match, and over $100,000 in prize money. Fan giveaways and prizes galore. It's the inaugural Super 6 playoffs starting November 24th. Get ready to rumble.
We at Multigraphics are dedicated to providing quality products and service to our customers. Our team takes pride in the craftsmanship and is passionate about its work. Every job, large or small, is important. Most of our customers come to us through referrals. That's because our number one priority is service. We serve a wide variety of customers, such as restaurants, retail stores, manufacturers, trucking companies, and many more. Our capabilities include design, production, and installation. How can we help? We are located at Bird Rock at the Woods Right compound. Call us at 869-763-1511 or 784-491-7599. Multigraphics.
With the fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic impacting the economy of St. Kitts and Nevis, actions taken by the Nevis Island administration might be bearing fruit. Articles appearing in several online magazines are indicating high interest by persons wishing for a safe place to live during the pandemic. Temporary incentives offered under the Citizenship by Investment program seem to be spurring this interest, according to Wealth Management magazine, a publication of the Financial Times. Responding to a Skn Newsline query on the matter, Premier Brantley outlined several incentives undertaken by the Nevis Island administration that might be resulting in the heightened interest.
I would be very happy if that is in fact what is happening. I can tell you that as part of our response to COVID, we have met with realtors on the island of Nevis. We have heard them. We have, in response to their entreaties, we have waived alien landholding license fees. Alien landholding license fees are levied at a rate of 10% of the value of the property that is being sold, and any non-national buying property outside CARICOM or OECS, for which we have a special arrangement, any non-national would have to pay that 10%. The realtors felt that if we waive that fee for a short period, that might help move real estate, and we acceded to that. So I do not know if that might have assisted, because that would mean that your property purchase is immediately 10% cheaper than it was because of the waiver of those fees. We have also, of course, in relation to construction, both new construction and renovations, granted some very generous concessions that, again, they say is spurring construction activity of new villas, new homes, and encouraging persons. They must start that construction by December 31st. That was the understanding, and that was the policy that we put in place. In addition, I'm aware that the Cabinet has taken a decision at the federal level to ensure that some sales of real estate over a certain value, being $400,000 US, will qualify the purchasers for citizenship by investment. That is something that was a proposal that came out of that same meeting. The Prime Minister and the Cabinet in St. Kitts were amenable, and that is something, no doubt, that the Prime Minister will speak more about in the days and weeks ahead. But that is another initiative. So all of those may well be spurring, we hope, construction activity and real estate activity, because real estate is an important part of the economic matrix for the island of Nevis.
The reopening of borders as of the 31st October should begin economic recovery after 7 months of border closure after the first case of COVID-19 infection was announced. Glenn Batt, Skn Newsline. Ms. Raquel Brown, the Chief Executive Officer of the St. Kitts Tourism Authority, said taxi and tour operators are not being prevented from providing services after the borders are reopened. Responding to a Skn Newsline question on concerns of taxi operators, Tourism Chief Executive Officer Brown said there is no discrimination against taxi or tour operators. In the context of the COVID-19 pandemic, some taxi operators have expressed concern that they will not be allowed to transport visitors. Only some operators are being selected. But the tourism CEO explained that taxi and tour operators must go through training, install the necessary barriers in their vehicles, and be inspected because of the high-risk passengers they will be transporting. So far, Brown said only a small number of operators came forward to be inspected.
Every operator, taxi or tour operator who has gone through the training, they are required to have an inspection done, and inspections have been started from about 2 weeks ago. They're Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. They're from 1 to 4 p.m. Those individuals, they must have either the Velcro protection or the plexiglass, which is a requirement from the Ministry of Health. Now, individuals may feel that this was not a requirement of the Ministry of Health along with the Tourism Authority, but we're carrying high-risk passengers from the airport to the hotels, regardless of whether or not they're here from 1 to 7 days or to 8 to 14 days. So the requirement is that we have to ensure that in transportation services, they are protected. They have all been given the opportunity to attend the training. The training is free. The inspection process does not cost them anything. There's no cost to the decal. They can renew their license in decal from the Tourism Authority, which is what allows them to be a taxi or tour operator. At this point in time, we only have 24 taxi operators that have come to be inspected. The we have over 500 taxi operators, tour operators in the system. So it is not that we are preventing individuals from providing services, but for SCASPA, they also will be using the travel approved sealed taxi operators to provide services to and from the airport. So we only at this time, Minister said last night on Leadership Matters 23, we had another taxi operator who came in and they qualified today. So in total, we have 24 taxi tour operators that have qualified by training and inspection of their vehicles that meet the requirements for COVID-19 protocols.
In an effort to prevent community transmission of COVID-19, the Tourism Authority and the Ministry of Health have implemented strict controls for the movement of visitors after the borders are reopened on 31st October. Glenn Batt, Skn Newsline. Premier Mark Brantley said that while social ills must be taken into account when considering the behavior of people, there remains the need for people to be responsible by making the right choices. Premier Brantley was responding to an Skn Newsline question regarding his passionate comments he made on his radio talk show On The Mark that have created a significant buzz on social media, with some persons taking offense either about what he said or how he made his remarks. Speaking at his late October press conference at his office in Charlestown, Premier Brantley agreed that all social anomalies have to be considered, but in the context of what he was speaking about, he believes his remarks were appropriate.
They're all part and parcel of an overall conversation. I marveled at the fact that my comments created such a sensation because I didn't think that I said anything that people didn't already know. I didn't think I said anything that was controversial. But I recognize as a politician and as somebody in a leadership position at this point on the island that we have shied away from these types of topics. Because you do understand that when you engage, some people might get upset. But I have felt that leadership has to lead. And part of our role has to be to use the bully pulpit we have, not only to tell people the nice things they want to hear, but also to tell people some hard truths which they may not want to hear. And one of those hard truths is that our people continue to behave in some areas irresponsibly. Yes, there are problems in the society. Yes, there are things that happen that are outside the control of persons. Yes, there are poor people who are taken advantage of, including women. But we have to also drill into our people's heads that where you have a choice, make or seek to make the right choice. Where you're going to take a decision, understand that that decision might have consequences. And as a result of that, we hope you will make better decisions. Because poor choices and poor decisions and irresponsible.
On his radio show, Brantley made the point that too many acts from irresponsible choices have become the burden of government and the country. Glenn Batt, Skn Newsline.
St. Peter's FC made its claim for a Super 6 playoff spot Friday night at the Warner Park with a resounding 5-0 victory over Trafalgar South Stars in the Skn FA Premier League. Skn Newsline and Voice of the Caribbean Radio, in collaboration with the Skn FA, provided live coverage of the match. Commentators Al Edwards and Essington Watts.
The keeper gets there, cleared away, off the line, flag go up. Means that the clearance that the guy cleared off the line, in doing so, he handled the ball.
Well, his initial reaction was to stoop. The penalty is taken, scored, so St. Peter's goes ahead. St. Peter's scoring the penalty.
Harris slams it goals. It's in the back of the net. Goal, Kareem Harris.
Oh,
I just said it.
That was powerfully shot by Kareem Harris. Goalkeeper came across. He made some contact, but not enough contact to get the ball, to keep the ball out. And they can see the second goal on the Trafalgar South Stars. But Trafalgar South Stars now with one man down, and now they have a disadvantage of 2 goals. So
here comes Govaya. Simmons. Purcell gets it, sends it over to the other side. David has a way to shot. Goal was it? It's goal! David with that right foot. Might be his weaker foot, but he timed it well and placed it even better.
Oh, that was a very good shot indeed. It exploded in the top of the net and giving St. Peter's their third goal. Very good shot from a tight angle.
Oh, Simmons coming away. Simmons fakes on the inside. Gets a shot. Going to the back of the net. Simmons. 4. I didn't mean that they should go back up to the original 6. But the last time they played, it was 6-0. Now it's 4 with lots of time to go. On that occasion, we had Coughlin Harris scoring. He's not playing this game. Dennis Stevens scored. He's not playing this game. Devontae Fry scoring. He's not playing this game. And the other goal scorers who scored in that game, Kareem Simmons, he scores again. He just scored. And Tyquan Till is still on the field. Hazel, free kick, hard and low. Almost scored. Then scored. The man in front of the goal. Fry. Finally. He was begging for a goal and then he got it.
He got it. Eventually got it. Very good goal indeed. Very good goal indeed. And St. Peter's, sorry. This is really a demolition job by St. Peter's. And is that the 6th? Is that the?
That's the 5th one.
That's the 5th. So
I have one more to equalize.
So the goal scorers for St. Peter's, Tyquan Tyrrell in the 24th minute, Kareem Harris in the 32nd minute, Kijani David in the 58th minute, Kareem Simmons in the 61st minute, and Devontae Fry in the 89th minute. Abidjan Woodley of South Stars was sent off with a straight red card in the 23rd minute, for denying an obvious goal-scoring opportunity. At the end of the match, we spoke to coach of St. Peter's FC, Anthony Nets Isaac, who said the win puts them in a good position to qualify for the Super 6.
Very joyful for the victory. It put us in a spot now to cement a place in the Super 6, hoping not to lose any more games going forward. So the guys are overjoyed. I'm very thankful for the win tonight, so put us in a good position, as I said before.
A player with Trafalgar South Stars commented on the match and had words of advice for football fans.
The game did went as planned. We try to pick it back up, but the damage is already done. And we can just pick up ourselves and come harder for the next game. So a pleasant good night to everyone. And I hope football fans enjoying the night. Follow the COVID protocols. Stay safe.
In the night's other match, SL Horses St. Paul's demolished Mantab 6-1. Aidan Nurse scored a brace for St. Paul's in the 14th and 64th minute. Keithworth Freeman is now the top goal scorer so far in the league, scoring a hat-trick in the 26th, 42nd and 46th minutes. And Darrell Challenger rounded out the goal scoring for St. Paul's in the 90th minute. Omar Francis of St. Paul's scored an own goal in the 54th minute, giving Mantab their only goal of the match. The battle for a Super 6 playoff spot is heating up as we enter the final stages of Round 2 of the SKNFA Premier League. One team to be feeling the heat of qualification on the weekend was Hobson Enterprises Garden Hotspurs, but they failed in their attempt to keep the pace as they lost their first match since the restart of the league on Saturday night, losing 2-1 to Rans Village Superstars. They were eventually reduced to 10 men after Shaquille Adams picked up his second yellow card in the 32nd minute, but despite this, they held off waves of attack from Village and created chances of their own right into the middle of the second half. They eventually went down a goal, equalized with a stunner from about 18 yards, only to undo that with an own goal in the dying moments of the game. Here are the highlights, brought to you by Skn Newsline and Voice of the Caribbean Radio in association with the SKNFA. Commentators Al Edwards and Essington Watts.
Of course. It looks like Village has an opportunity. Hanley in the back of the net. There is the answer. Tahir Hanley.
Yes, that was a powerful shot by Tahir Hanley. He picked it up and slammed it to the back of the net. That went like a rocket. Rocket almost testing the strength of the net, Al. That was a powerfully hit shot by Tahir Hanley, breaking the deadlock. Very Superstars now with a one-man advantage and a one-goal advantage. It was coming. We know it was coming. Spurs, they played very well with 10 men, but it was always coming. That was a powerfully struck shot. But here comes the ball in. Garden Hotspur still looking for the equalizer.
It's in the back of the net.
That was absolutely brilliant from Garden Hotspur. And they deserve it. They really deserve it. That was absolutely beautiful, and they're celebrating. Oh, that was struck well. This is really a derby. This is the Basket derby. This was expect from any derby. Excitement, entertainment, rivalry between these two teams.
He has run over to the sports section of the crowd and seemed to be injured in the process.
Great opportunity to break the deadlock.
Meanwhile, corner to Village. Heads go up. Flick in. Village! Back in front.
Oh, that seemed to have been an own goal, Al. But let's see.
In my opinion, the ball was already crossed the line when the sports player tried to get it out and finish it off.
Tahir Hanley, the goal scorer for Village in the 62nd minute, and the own goal coming from Valmon Jeffers in favour of Village in the 4th minute of stoppage time. DeAndre Challenger in the 53rd minute for Spurs. After the match, we spoke to coach Stephen Clark of Village Superstars, who said his team made the game harder than it should have been.
Well, I think we made the game harder than we needed to. I'm more than likely for the 3 points, but the team play was not that good. So we basically go back to the play field and work again, work at training and get right to the penalty.
Spurs assistant coach Stephen Brown said the match was evenly contested.
It was an evenly contested game. Both teams put out the best. It was just unfortunate that we gave up that late goal to lose the game. Well, we were missing a lot of key players that hopefully will be back in the next games, and it will give us a little more energy in the midfield, because I guess we got tired, so maybe we need to work on some fitness more to get the guys them ready for the next game.
In the night's other match, Elko Limited Security Forces were drubbed 5-1 by KFC United Old Road Jets. Nickwan Brown scored a brace in the 4th and 67th minute. So did Dequani Williams in the 45th and 59th minute, and Zion Drew in the 89th minute to round out the goal scoring for Old Road. The lone goal for Security Forces came from Justin Sulin. Esgrave Newtown United FC kept their hopes alive of qualifying for the Super 6 playoffs with a narrow 1-0 victory over Saul Island Auto Supply's Connery FC in SKNFA Premier League action at the Warner Park Sunday night. The goal came early in the match from the booth of Johannes Mitchum in the 10th minute. The game was delayed for some 15 minutes in the first half due to an injury to the Newtown goalkeeper, who had to be substituted and eventually taken to hospital for treatment. Al Edwards and Essington Watts were the commentators for this match in the Premier League live broadcast on sknewsline.com and Voice of the Caribbean Radio in collaboration with the SKNFA.
He's onside. Mitchum is onside. Mitchum breaks 1-on-1. Can he get to one man? Yes, he does. Goal to Newtown. Mitchum. One goal to nil. It was a true ball. The Connery player stood up thinking he was outside. He stood up thinking he was outside. Paused momentarily. Then when he looked to the flag, he realized he wasn't up. He wasn't in a whistle. Sped down into the box. Pulled the keeper off his line and slotted it to the left of the keeper to give Newtown the first goal in this early goings. He's down the right flank. Ewell can get across. Can get a foot onto it. He does so now. And Gums tried to steal the ball. Kadim Lewis falling over him. The whistle goes. He gets a yellow card. He gets a yellow card in for the process. Trying to counter down the right side. Gums. A second yellow card for Gums. Red card for Gums.
Oh, Gums.
Very similar pattern. Show comes in quickly. Clearance from Newtown. Not very far. Robbed by Connery. Connery, Ewell shoots a goal just past the upright. In fact, I think Thompson touched it away.
Mackinnon Gums of Newtown was sent off after picking up his second yellow card in the 11th minute of stoppage time in the first half. In the evening's other match, Flo Fujikian Rockets returned to winning ways with a 2-1 victory over Fast Gas Saddlers. Mervyn Lewis and Denilson Thomas were the goal scorers for Keon in the 13th and 46th minute respectively, though Saddlers got the goal scoring off in the 8th minute from Alfonso Murray. Denilson Thomas of Keon was sent off with a straight red card in the 59th minute for violent conduct.